So Gigantomachia is a character who never really gets his quirks explained at all throughout the My Hero Academia story. He never gets that freeze frame moment where President Mike gives a quick rundown of his quirks. But thankfully, Horikoshi realized this during the Paranormal Liberation War arc, and in volume 29 of the manga, there's an extra page dedicated to explaining all of Machia's quirks and the in-lore reasoning behind some of the quirks he received from All For One, as well as what he made Machia do throughout the years. Today, we will be breaking down all 7 of Gigantomachia's quirks, his role in All For One's grand plan, and the mystery surrounding this character. First, let's jump into all 7 of Machia's quirks, with the first quirk being Endurance, his original quirk that gives him the ability to transform his morale into physical energy, which lets him endure basically anything without him giving out, or in Horikoshi's words, this quirk makes him a stamina beast. Now, Endurance is the main reason why Machia was able to receive so many quirks to begin with without his body needing to undergo the process of being modified by Dr. Ujiko like how the Nomu were, which due to Machia being able to handle multiple quirks without his body needing to be modified, Machia in turn served as the blueprint for the Nomu, having the Nomu being modeled after him. His second quirk, Pain Blocker, makes it so he cannot feel pain. Pretty self-explanatory really, as we never see Machia undergo any real pain, just him tanking through any attack thrown his way. His third quirk, Gigantification, allows him to grow gigantic when agitated or excited. His fourth quirk, Dog, grants him heightened senses of smell and hearing. Here, I think the description for this quirk doesn't really do it justice because Machia's senses are insanely heightened. This man is able to track Shigaraki from literally just about anywhere due to this quirk, just like I'll do to you if you haven't already liked the video or subscribed to the channel yet. Anyways, moving on, his fifth quirk, Energy Saver, allows him to function on very small amounts of nutrition and hydration, which also makes it so that he doesn't need a lot of sleep. This quirk is the reason why he was able to go 48 hours and 44 minutes of just straight relentlessly attacking Shigaraki back during the My Villain Academia arc. What's more interesting about this quirk is that it was said that after the 48 hours of attacking, he would rest for 3 hours and go after Shigaraki again for another 48 hours. But while resting, at any point during his 3-hour rest, if he was attacked by Shigaraki in the league, he would wake right up and once again go after them. This means that Machia doesn't even need a full 3 hours of sleep to go back on another rampage. After this comes his sixth quirk, Fierce Gains, which makes it so his muscles are remarkably hard and tough. And finally, his seventh quirk, Mole, is a transformation quirk that allows him to dig underground. The physical features that are included with this quirk are long claws, spines on his back that make it easier for him to slide through the earth, and a visor to shield his face. All of these quirks together, plus Machia's complete loyalty to All For One, allows Machia to act as the perfect bodyguard for All For One, Shigaraki, and the League. Now, though he is the perfect bodyguard, Machia isn't the brightest character in the series. I mean, if we take one look at his stats given to us from the Ultra Analysis data book, the man has an E in intelligence, so it makes sense as to why All For One stuffed Machia, full of simplistic physical enhancement type quirks, instead of quirks that require a lot of training or brain power. His second and third quirks, them being Pain Blocker and Gigantification, are the only quirks that require a little training to control and adjust properly, but Machia always has them activated to some extent. They also work as a combination that automatically enhances the potential of his original quirk, Endurance. The man is basically a walking tank with all of these quirk combinations. As for Machia's seventh quirk, All For One gave Machia the Mole quirk specifically to allow him to lie dormant. Following his master's orders, Machia would dig deep underground in the mountains and hide out there. That's why when Machia makes his first appearance in the manga, he is surrounded by a forest and is later found in the mountains by Gran Torino and company. Machia also played an important role in All For One's grand plan. Other than Machia being the perfect bodyguard and serving as the blueprint for the Nomu, back when All For One was crippled by All Might and most of his flunkies were rounded up by the authorities, All For One made Dr. Ujiko, aka Dr. Garaki, and Machia responsible for going around the country to collect quirks that he'd use to repair himself. Machia specifically would go around and kidnap certain heroes to take their quirks for All for One. This explains why during Kirishima's flashback, we see that Machia was asking for directions to the Springer Hero Agency because he was planning on kidnapping the Springer Hero for their quirk. Now, when it comes to Gigantomachia's personality, he is a very impatient person. When simply asking for directions to the Springer Hero Agency, he grew very impatient and got aggressive towards the middle school girls that weren't telling him where the agency was located at due to how frightened they were of him. But when he finally got what he believed to be the directions to the Hero Agency by Mina, he calmed down, thanked her, and walked away. On top of being impatient, he is very faithful to All for One, even being his personal bodyguard at one point in time. His devotion, obedience, and just straight up love for All for One is so intense that simply hearing a recording of All for One's voice is enough to calm him down from raging. Garaki, aka Dr. Ujiko, when describing Gigantomachia, had stated that he is a walking calamity who lives and dies for his master. Therefore, a lot of the time we see Gigantomachia saying that everything he does is for his master. So when commanded by All for One or his successor Shigaraki, he will plow through and outright destroy anything and everyone in his path to complete whatever objective he was tasked to do, all for the sake of his master. Now, despite knowing all of this, Gigantomachia is still a relatively mysterious character in the fact that we still don't know much about him, specifically relating to why he is so damn loyal to All for One to begin with, as well as what his actual identity really is. There are a few theories that surround this character's identity, such as him possibly being Crimson Riot, or him being the same exact bodyguard that we see pin down Yoichi, the first user of One for All, in the One for All flashback. But we still have no concrete answer as to who he is due to us not knowing what happened to Crimson Riot and the bodyguard being someone that lived generations ago. With that said, for a lot of the lore surrounding Gigantomachia and his involvement with All for One and his plan is relegated to an extra page in volume 29, the Ultra Analysis data book, and some lines from Dr. Ujiko. When looking at the things that were going on in the story around the time with all of the fights and drama, it's clear that Horikoshi didn't have the time to implement a lot of this information within the story. Still, I'm glad Horikoshi recognized this and still gave us some lore about Machia through volume 29 and the Ultra Analysis data book, with more surely to come down in the future. Let me know your thoughts on the overwhelming force of nature who mows down all in his path, Gigantomachia, in the comment section below. Like always, thank you all for watching today's video. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to Detroit smash that like button below, as well as share this video with your friends. It greatly helps the channel out a ton. And if you are new to the channel and you like My Hero Academia content, then be sure to subscribe to the channel as well as hit that notification bell to join the Kitoroki Hero Academia to become my hero. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.